Warning, this episode contains strong language.
And I started posting some of the stuff that I would write on social media, and I started seeing some really strong feedback. And so I come back from that trip, I pick up the phone, I call up my friend who was with me at that dinner, and I say, "Hey, dude, remember that book you were talking about? The book you said I was on chapter 2?" He said, "Yeah, I remembered it." He nodded his head. I said, "I think I'm on chapter 12 right now. So I don't know if you know somebody, but I'm ready to start writing."
Welcome to the Lone Star Play Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Join me and a famous guest. We discuss their career, life, food, Texas, and everything in between. Let's get started. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Lone Star Play Podcast. That's right, it's a season 3 premiere, January 2021. Can't believe it. I needed a break, but I missed y'all. Not gonna lie, missed y'all. But super excited to be back. Hope you had a great holiday with your family, whether it was remote or in person. Done safely, of course. Hopefully COVID will we'll get past this COVID stuff this year, guys. It's gonna happen, I promise. Vaccines out, new transition of power. Yes, I would be remiss if I didn't discuss the Capitol siege that happened recently. That was absolutely insane. Just my heart goes out, and our hearts go out to everyone who and their families who passed away, fortunately, that day. So, look, I'm excited for what's coming, right? And let's get to what's coming in this podcast, y'all, because I have a great episode, great way to start off the season and the new year and everything we have going on. Sam Acho. Does his name sound familiar? Yes. Okay, he's a free agent right now in the NFL, but he's also the vice president of the NFL Players Association. Okay, he's a wonderful guy. He wrote this wonderful book right here, Let the World See You. It says, How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. Boy, do we need this right now, right? This is a great read, y'all. Great read. Just a great book. He came on to talk about it. Talked about, the NFL, playing in the NFL, also talked about what his role is in the NFL Players Association, what he does and what he's done, and what they're looking to do, especially with COVID and everything going on. It must be insane right now handling all that. And, of course, his book. Okay, y'all? Talk about his book. We could get good insight into, what inspired him to write it, some great stories that are in it, and why you should read it and why you should buy it. So, please check out the book, check out him, and definitely check out this podcast. All right. We'll put links in the description of how to get the book. All right. So before we get to his interview, which is wonderful, by the way, okay, let me tell you about, as always, Texas real food, right? Got to discuss Texas real food a little bit here. Don't forget, you go to their website, you're going to find recipes, articles, right? All kinds of cool stuff that's on there for the new year. The site is exploding with great content. I'm telling you. Reviews, other podcast reviews. Yes, there's other podcasts out there besides this one. Documentary reviews. There's just everything food related. It's absolutely wonderful. It's really blowing up. Because aside from just what Texas Real Food does, the main site, right, the directory where you just put in your zip code and you find all the cool places around you, it has all these other resources, and it's free. Okay, so just go to the site, check it out, sign up, and stay in touch, and let's get this real food movement going in Texas. Right, we need to be knowing what we're eating. It needs to be real. All right. Other exciting news that I'm actually very excited to discuss, y'all. I can't tell y'all, really, I'm excited. Okay, we finally have our own Instagram, Twitter, Facebook handles. Okay, so you can now follow us at Lone Star Plate TX. Okay, so please, we're low on, but we just started this. Okay, so we need to get this. We need to blow this stuff up right now. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Again, Lone Star Plate TX. Please go on there and follow us on either of those that you're on. that's where we're going to start posting everything. And yeah, we're really excited to get that going and grow it. We just got too big. We were always piggybacked on the Texas Real Food stuff, but we just got too big and we couldn't be there. We needed to have our own stuff. So very excited to get that going. And you know what? You're going to find me on there commenting and whatever. What else do you do on social media? Commenting and looking at stuff. I guess that's what I'll be liking stuff, sharing. So, please tag us and post and share it and tag it. And look, I'll put in the stories, I'll tag it, whatever. I'll do whatever I can. Let's engage. And also YouTube. Okay, our YouTube is just crushing right now, to be frank with you. It blew up over the holidays. We had a few videos that just went, semi-viral, I guess viral for us, Texas viral, Lion Daniels in particular, okay? There's a movie on Netflix called We Can Be Heroes. It's actually the first movie to go number one on Netflix twice, because it came out on Christmas, went number one, kind of dipped down a little bit, and then came back again, number one again. Unbelievable. So we had Lion Daniels on in June, I think it was. He's in the movie. He's a star of the movie. He's one of the kids. The interview did okay back when it came out, but the movie's out now. It is exploding now. He's exploding. So definitely check out that interview. Great kid, great interview. He talks about the movie, really cool. So you can get some insight about it. So again, lots of other videos that are just doing really well. Great conversations that are happening. That's where a lot of our engagement is online, to be honest with you, is in the YouTube comments. So go check out the YouTube stuff. Right now it's still under Texas Real Food, but we are name changing it. So if you subscribe to that channel, when we name change it, you'll still be there. So definitely go to that, subscribe. We're going to be name changing. It's just a big deal to change names and get videos off. So that's the last social media platform. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but we are going to get that done. So go subscribe there, Texas Real Food. Subscribe to that channel. You can find all of our Lone Star Plate videos there. But again, it will change to the Lone Star Plate. So if you see the name change before the subscribe or after, whatever, it's coming. So, okay. Anyway. All right, guys. Sorry, got a little message there. Okay. Another thing I'm excited about, and more stuff we're going to be doing in the new year, is a giveaway. Okay, we're going to be doing a food giveaway soon. I can't. It's going to be a surprise as to who and what and how much, but I'm going to tell you it's a lot, and it's really cool. So you're going to want to, check out our social media. Okay, again, go to Lone Star Plate TX. Go ahead and start following and subscribing and whatever you do. And so you can stay up to date of when this, giveaway is going to be. I'm obviously going to talk about it on the podcast, but we're going to do the giveaway on social media. So, okay. All right. So again, we're really excited about that because you know why we're doing this giveaway and why we're doing it. To be honest with you, I pinch myself every day that this is, something that I get to do. So I thank y'all so much for supporting this and supporting us. And I want to continue to do a good job, just like everyone, part of the team. We all take this very seriously. And again, I hope I don't reiterate that too much, but thank y'all so much. I just want y'all to know that we really do appreciate y'all listening and tuning in and sharing the podcast and the stories and getting involved. And it's really cool. Really cool. Really, really do enjoy that. And that's why we're moving into this engagement, so I can have more of an engagement with y'all, online, because when I do the podcast, it's just, it's hard to have that engagement, right? So, yeah, very excited, and, we just want to do some stuff for y'all. So thank you so much. Okay, guys, let's get to the interview. Okay, here we go. Sam Acho, very excited. Enjoy. Yeah, there we go. Bam.
Bam.
I love it. Is this I hope this doesn't come off wrong. Are these PJs? Are you in some PJs there? Is that PJs?
No, dude. This is actually so I had on like a sweatshirt, and then my wife was like, "Dude, you got to look nicer than that." So I think because the top is unbuttoned. She's like, "Throw on some PJs." No, I'm playing.
It looks like just the nicest PJ top I've ever seen. No, it looks like silk.
It's just a tight.
It looks great, man. Trust me, you look good.
Shirt. Look like I'm just got rolled out of bed at noon.
No, man. No, I mean, look at me. I look like I just went to Home Depot or something. I don't know. I don't even know what. It's all good. Hey, listen, man. I've been reading your book for the past few days. Just incredible, man. Just absolutely incredible. And I want to start with something that I heard in another interview that you gave, that you said that you wanted when people read this book that you wanted it to change their lives. And
Hmm.
that got me thinking, actually, because I thought, got me thinking about a few things. One, I was thinking, what a endeavor to write a book and think I want to change people's lives with this book, which is awesome. I mean, I love the the trajectory that you want to take that with. But it also got me thinking, well, what books in your life
Yeah.
have changed, right? Like have made a difference for you. Obviously, the Bible is probably an important book in your life, of course. But aside from that, what books in your life have changed you? And then we'll get into your book and maybe how that's inspired. I like how things connect.
Yeah, no, I love that question. But for me, I think most recently the book that's changed me the most is a book by a woman named Sarah Young. It's actually a
Okay.
devotional, and it's by a woman named Sarah Young, and it's called Jesus Calling. It's a daily devotional. It takes it's a 2 minute read, 30-second read, really.
Yeah.
That literally like every day for almost 2 years, I would just read it. And it just kind of got my day started off right. That book probably was the singular most important book, devotional, whatever you want to call it, in my uh, transformation is probably not the right word, but it's a word I'll use in my transformation and my growth. It just reminded me that, okay, as much as your life or frustration, all these things try to grab a me, the God, got it, and I don't have to be distracted or have distorted by whatever's going on. As I remember who's with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you travel with books and stuff? Is that something you normally do?
I don't. To be honest, I'm not the most voracious reader, right? Being an author, it's like, what are all the books? I'm not the most
Yeah.
voracious reader. I start a lot of books. For me to finish a book is a big deal. Right? I'll start a book, I'll finish a book, right?
I'm with you.
Um, I don't, when I traveling is not usually the time when I'm reading. The one time I will say this, when I was getting ready to go get married, my wife is from Nigeria, so I traveled over to Nigeria, 14-hour flight to go get married to
Wow.
this woman. Her name is Ngazi. I talk about this in my book, And Let the World See You. I talk about this trip and how we got married and how we met. On that trip, I did bring a book. It was a book called Love Does by a man named Bob Goff. And so I was reading
Love
that book
does.
on my flight to Nigeria as I was getting ready to go really propose to this woman who I'd known for 15 years, since I was 15. And the book, pretty much the summation of the book is love is an action word. Love is a verb. Love doesn't just talk about things or doesn't just think things. Love does things. And for me, it really things came together. It equated for me because I was on a flight to Nigeria. Very few people knew. I mean, my family knew and some close friends, but no one knew. I was
Uh,
playing in the NFL and I'm going to Nigeria to marry this woman who, and there's a story behind it. It's in the books. I don't want to give it away. I might give away some of it on this podcast, but I was doing something. I was acting and showing my love. So that was a book that I really enjoyed on a flight. Another one is a book called The Meaning of Marriage. That one I didn't read. I read on some flights, but that one I actually sat down. It's by a guy named Tim Keller. And that was important for me. My dad is a marriage counselor, and also I just know the importance of a good marriage. And so for me, that book was another helpful book. I think, like I said, I read that one more sitting down, but I did take that with me on certain flights. I was writing in it, taking notes, the whole
yeah.
nine.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, you can also carry 1,000 books in your iPad, right? If you travel. So, in some ways you always have access to something if you need it. But that's great. Wow. What an incredible story. Of course, going to Nigeria. Yeah. We don't want to ruin any of the suspense, in the book there. But just what an incredible journey that you've been on to write this book, right? Because you played in the NFL, which is just first of all incredible. When I think of that, I think, oh my God, yeah, like I played football in Texas, but I mean, obviously nothing to your level. Like I played in eighth grade and in ninth grade, right? Okay, so we're talking
What
like
school did you go? What part of
nothing.
Texas? So
I
what part of Texas was it?
Grapevine. So I went
Okay,
to
Grapevine's a
Grapevine
big,
area. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Jack Brewer was from my school.
nice.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, look, it's just one of those things, but I think like you're playing at this level that's, of course, it's the NFL. What my first thought was like, God, I gotta ask this guy, what does it, because I've met a lot of football players, but I've never had a chance to just ask him this question. What does it feel like to get hit in the NFL? Like, what is that? I mean, it's gotta feel like a train, and you give the hits too, but at the same time, I'm curious, as someone that knows to give hits, what do you feel like, when you get both, I guess, your reaction to both, giving a good hit and
Well,
taking one?
yeah, it's funny. People, the most interesting question I've been asked around this topic is not necessarily what does it feel like to get hit. People ask, what does it feel like to fall down? That's what they ask
Really?
about to fall.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, because you're falling down all the time on the surf, and how does it feel to fall down all the time and get back up? And I'll answer that question the same way I'll answer this one: is you don't really feel it. You don't really feel it. So when you get knocked down or fall down, you immediately are taught to get back up.
Yeah.
So you don't
Yeah.
feel the fact that you fell down, right? And even giving a hit, right? Giving a hit or even receiving a hit, you don't really feel it. You're going, you're running, you're moving. All of a sudden, somebody knocks you, you fly off, and then you roll and you get back up because you don't want to stay on the ground. You don't
Yeah.
feel it, you don't think about it. So that's the receiving it. Giving hits as well. Now it feels good to give a hit, especially as a dude, and man and woman. I don't care who
Yeah.
you are. Like just letting out some of those these emotions, right?
Sure.
Testosterone or whatever. It feels good to give it, but getting hit, it doesn't. You're used to it. You're wearing pads. You got your gloves on. Your hands taped up, so you're prepared to use your hands as weapons.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I moved from football to hockey. I started playing hockey. I know Texas hockey, but we were part of like the first group when the Stars had moved from Minnesota. And, it was a small group of us, but we were playing hockey a lot and we started hitting. And the thing I remember, I mean, I got knocked out. I got my teeth knocked out. I mean, it's true what they say. Like it's some crazy stuff when people fight. But I remember the thing with me, you get hit, it would always, you're right. You wouldn't really feel. You just keep going. But I would remember if you gave a good hit, you didn't even feel it. It was like the person brushed off of
Yeah,
you or something
yeah,
because it was
yeah.
perfect contact, right? It was like such
Yeah,
a
you don't
weird
feel it.
feeling.
And that's the thing.
Yeah,
Like you feel a joy
yeah,
from
yeah,
giving a good hit. And that's the thing. Like I think hockey, like people say football. I think hockey because y'all are always hitting every time. For me, I'm using my hands more. I'm throwing people down. I'm like sacking a quarterback. But to give a good hit, maybe it's one of these like we need to talk to some people who are in like physics and stuff, right? Force vectors and geometry and the math behind it. But man, you don't feel it, right? People's momentum, it sometimes carries them to where they need to go.
sure, absolutely, yeah. What a great answer. I'm glad we got that out of the way. I was just so curious about that. That's definitely something. Because I also think about these are just different experiences. I mean, you're playing at a level of something that's the best in the world, and that's just such an incredible world to be a part of, no matter what you're doing. So yeah, to know what that feels like. I know people listening are gonna, be curious about. Another thing I thought that I saw that was great is that you're part of the Players Association. You're one of the vice presidents, and you're in your second term, which I think is awesome, man. This is what I love about you is that you don't just play football. Like you're part of this whole community, and you're trying to do all these other things and make it more than that. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing. So being a part of the Players Association, I'm just curious why join it and what did you hope to get out of it, for this?
Yeah, well, I'll start with maybe the third question, right? Why join? What did you hope to get out? And even like, what do you do, right? What does someone who's an executive committee member, a vice president of the NFL Players Association do? For me, most recently, it's been talking a lot about how do we deal with COVID in the NFL.
Yeah.
So obviously, if people are watching games or if there are games to be watched, if they're not getting delayed by days and sometimes weeks. A lot of my job right now is making sure that the players' voices are heard when it comes to the COVID situation. You got the NFL who wants games to be played. You've got players who want games to be played as well. But also there's some negotiating that has to happen. What do we do to make sure we're playing the game in the safest way possible? Is playing the most advantageous thing to do for both players and ownership? Obviously, I'm on the side of the players. So most recently, those have been the discussions I've been having. Before that, it was about the collective bargaining agreement, right? If people who were football fans are listening, you remember in 2011 there was a lockout, NFL lockout, and so for a few months, really, there was no football. Now it started
Yeah.
right in time as the season was starting, but there was no training camp, there was barely a draft, and
Yeah.
that was that season. And we did come to an agreement just a few months ago, but without that agreement, there either would have been another lockout or potential of a player strike.
Oh,
And so
wow.
that's what I've been doing this most recent, the new term is talking about the COVID situation. In the previous term, it was negotiating that collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, in the COVID situation, at least the collective bargaining agreement, you've got some history to go on. There's some references, precedents of sorts. But with COVID, this has to be absolutely insane to tackle this. No, no pun intended there.
Yeah, no,
Right.
yeah, there's been so many ups and downs. Like just to your point, every day is new.
Yeah.
Every day is new, whether it's a new game getting canceled or getting pushed back from a Thursday Thanksgiving game to Sunday, then to Monday, then to Wednesday. I mean, it's everything is new. And I would love to say, well, that's just part of the job. But in all reality, no one knew this was going to be part of the
Yeah.
job.
No,
We're
no,
all
no,
just as
not at
surprised as
all.
anyone else. Yeah. But we have been
100%.
put in these positions of leadership to try and help lead, guide, and give advice to not only the players, but also to the public.
Absolutely. Well, it's as a someone that's wants to see the games, and as a fan, all the fans out there definitely going to appreciate what everyone's trying to do just to make it happen, right? Because it's, again, just unprecedented. So, my hat's off to you and everyone involved that's making all these things happen. It's incredible for all the leagues, really. NBA, I think, soccer too, everybody that's hockey, everybody that's having to make this happen. It's absolutely just incredible. So, yeah, incredible. Look, I definitely want to get to this book, man, because again, this I just started reading it, and I just couldn't. This sounds so cliche, but I couldn't put it down. And to be frank, I'm going to be upfront, and people that listen to the podcast know this about me, but I'm not a believer. But that doesn't mean that I can appreciate, a good book or a good message, if you will. So that's what I got out of your book. That's what I loved about it. It was just there's so good messaging and so much respect for what you've been through and the journey you've gone through to get to this point, and then write this book that reflects a lot of that. It's absolutely amazing, man. And it is inspirational, even to someone like myself. So I'm curious, one, why write this book? I guess we'll just start there and just see where it sort of branches out from there.
Yeah, no, I wrote this book. So my book is called Let the World See You. You can see it in the back. Let the World See You, How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes. And I started writing this book because I noticed that people love to pretend. And it wasn't just people on the outside. I noticed I was the same. I would pretend. I would try to fit in with one crowd, whether it was in the football crowd, I would try to fit in, or if you're watching this, right? I'm black, so fit in with the black crowd.
Yeah.
Or if I'm, fit in with I went to a school called St. Mark's, a #1 private school, college prep, nerdy school. Fit in with the nerds. I tried to always fit in and put on these different figurative masks. And it got to a point where I just wasn't me. And it wasn't that I didn't know who I was. I knew who I was, but I didn't want to show who I was out of fear that I wouldn't
Interesting.
fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. I think a lot of us, I really do believe this. I think a lot of us, we know who we are deep down
Yeah.
inside.
That's
We know
interesting.
who we are. But the thing is, do we want to show who we are?
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
question that a lot of us are still trying to grapple with. And I grapple with that. And I didn't show myself from being 13 years old and hiding in a bathroom stall because I was getting made fun of by some kids, to being 30 something years old in an NFL locker room. And no, I'm not hiding in bathroom stalls, but I would still go and wouldn't show people the real me.
Yeah.
And so finally, the weight of that just became too much. And I realized that I wasn't even anywhere close to who I wanted to be, from the husband to the father to the friend to the brother to the son. It wasn't me. And I was just carrying this weight, and it was just getting so heavy. And finally, in a lot of ways, I'll call it a breakthrough, is what I'll call it. I was sitting down with a friend, and I'm just in tears. I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on with my marriage. I don't know what's going on with me. I just don't know what's going on. And I told him, I said, maybe I need to get back to football, right? We start training camp in a week. As soon as I get back to football, then everything will be okay. I'll be fine. That's what I told him.
Yeah.
And, thank God for good friends. He looked at me and he said, Sam, if that's how you feel right now, he said, I'm concerned about what happens when football is taken away from you, either when you retire or when you
Wow.
can no longer play. I'm actually really concerned about you,
Wow.
about your marriage, your relationship with your kid. I'm really concerned. And as he's saying this, as I'm thinking about everything that had been going on, I started to cry.
Wow.
6'3", I'm 6'3", 260 pounds, in tears at a restaurant with my friend. And he looks at me, and he had never seen me cry before. He always seen the smile and the footballs and the books and all the great things.
Sure.
And I'm crying, and as I'm crying, it wasn't the one little drip, like the pretty cry. It was an ugly, like, one of those.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
looked
yeah.
at me. He looked at me and he said, "You know what, Sam? It's really nice to see you.
Wow.
It's really nice to see you."
Interesting.
And I look up and I kind of wipe some of the tears away, and I have this perplexed face look as I'm like, what do you mean it's nice to see you? And he said, "Sam, I've known you for 7 or 8 years now, and I've never seen this side of you." He said, "It's good to see and to know that you are human." And to your question of why did I write this book, he said this. He said, "Hey, you never know. Maybe God is writing a book in your life, and you may only be on chapter 2." And I'm
Wow.
sitting there like, dude, do you know what I've been through? You're talking about a book and chapter 2. What are you talking about? Well, fast forward a few months later, and what seemed bad got worse, from an injury, a torn pec that year, going in my 8th year, to losing my starting spot, to being out for the season, to my wife and I, we were having our 3rd child, and she had some complications after the pregnancy, so didn't know what was going to go on with her, if she was going to make it. To all in the same kind of span. To my house flooding, to my losing a mentor. My mentor died. I mean, all of this thing. My wife's wallet got stolen, all in like a 6-month period. And I remember I had this trip. We had it was a 5-year anniversary. Me and my wife were going to go to South Korea. My friend who was an administrator there, she had this whole thing set up for me to do a football camp in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
and to speak at the business school, George Mason University, South Korea campus. And we had it all set up, but a few weeks before, her wallet got stolen. My wife at the time wasn't a U.S. citizen, so that wallet had her
Resident card.
her green
Yeah.
card, your resident, exactly.
My wife's from Spain,
So,
so I've been through it.
Bingo. There you go. And so she couldn't go.
Yeah.
So you'll get this. We actually went to the U.S. embassy, to the Nigerian embassy in Atlanta to get a new passport, new something.
Yeah.
And we went to go get this new passport printed a month before the trip, and all of a sudden the passport machine's broken, so they can't do it. And so literally we were praying that it would come in time. They said, "We'll mail it to you." So the day before the trip, it still hadn't come in. I asked my wife, what do we do?
Ooh.
She said, "Dude, you committed. You committed, so you got to go."
Damn.
I said, "But our anniversary is supposed to be a whole trip." "You committed. You go. I'll be fine."
Wow.
So I go on that trip. Mind you, everything you heard had just happened. While we were at that Nigerian embassy, actually, that's when my house flooded.
Oh my
back
God.
in Chicago. So imagine, right? A few weeks after that, I get released. I just signed a 2-year contract. I was 1 year into my 2-year contract. Never been released before in my life, ever.
So you're right? Just holy shit.
I was the starter. I was the guy just signed a multi-million-dollar contract. I'm thinking this is good, right? I have an injury. I'm doing rehab. I'm thinking, okay, year 2, I'll be fine. I get released. Oof. And so I go on this trip. And I speak at the business school. I do the football camp. I get back to the hotel, and my friend who had set all this up said, "Hey, I know your wife's not here, but there's a dinner set up. There's all this stuff if you want to do it by yourself. If you want to come, your call." I said, "I'm just gonna rest." I'm just gonna go to sleep. It's been a long day, and I'm just gonna rest. So I just go to sleep, and God woke me up in the middle of the night, and he woke me up and literally hotel pen, Intercontinental, the hotel notepad, right? He woke me and I just started writing.
Wow.
I started writing.
Wow.
And I wasn't writing like a note to myself. I was writing about love and about fear from my heart, right? About pain, about shame, about death, about anxiety, writing about all these different things. And I started posting some of the stuff that I would write on social media, and I started seeing some really strong feedback. And so I come back from that trip, I pick up the phone, I call up my friend who was with me at that dinner, and I say, "Hey, dude, remember that book you were talking about? The book you said I was on chapter 2? He said, "Yeah, I remembered it." He nodded his head. I said, I think I'm on chapter 12 right now. So I don't know if you know somebody, but I'm ready to start writing.
Wow.
And so he put me in touch with a guy by the name of Alex, this book agent at this agency called the Bindery, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. Wow. Incredible. That's it. How long did it take you?
How long did it take to write? So it took
Yeah.
me honestly 4 months. It took me 4 months to write it. I started in March. I came back from that trip end of March. I started, last week of March, or maybe you could say early April, and I wrote April, May, June. But funny enough, I was a free agent,
Yeah.
and so I wasn't on a team. Well, all of a sudden in June, I get a call to go to a football team, and so really June and July and August, you can say 5 months, right? June, July, I wasn't writing; I was doing football, and I came back and finished it up in late September, turned it in October 1st.
Wow.
So call it 4 to 6 months.
That I bet that little break in between of writing actually helped. I bet.
I don't know if it did, to be honest, because
You
I
don't
was
think
going through a
so?
transition. I
Yeah.
don't know. Not that I don't think so. I really don't know, because for
Interesting.
me, this writing wasn't like, I didn't write this book to make money. I didn't write it because it
Sure.
was like, hey, it's time to write a book. You play in the NFL, go write. No, this book is like an overflow of my heart.
I got
And
you.
so for me, writing was therapy. And I talk about this in the book. I actually went to after my friend who sat down and said, hey, chapter 2 and
Yeah.
God's writing a book, he also recommended that I talk to a counselor. So I started going to therapy, and even my therapist recommended writing. So writing for me was therapy.
Yeah.
So what you see on those pages is an overflow of my heart.
Wow.
And so I don't know if that break was helpful. And maybe I think it was in a sense that I was on the border of, do I want to continue to play football or not? And I got a chance to go back and try it out. And for whatever reason, I got released again, which I'm like, what the heck is going on? I've never been cut before. And this like twice in the span of a couple months. And so there was definitely some transition that went on in my heart during that
Sure.
time.
Of
But
course.
for me, the writing was therapy.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. I just know creatively, anytime I've stepped away and come back at it, my mind's refreshed and I'm seeing it for what it is. Sometimes, not always, but I can also understand losing the momentum that you might have had.
Right. And mind you, this is my first book. Let
Yeah.
the World. It just came out a month
Yeah.
ago, a month.
Totally.
It's my first book. So I don't know what it's like to sit down and write an entire book before 55, however many thousand words. It was my first book. And so I
There's no
didn't
right
know.
way. There's no right way.
Right.
At least all the
Right.
authors I've interviewed, they all have a different answer and they've all said the same thing. Like there's no right way.
Right. Right.
Just got to do it your way, whatever works best for you, whatever gets the best work on the page, the truest, right?
Yes.
The most honest. So
Yes.
yeah, I love that. I love that so much. Sam, we always talk a little bit about food. I'm a chef, well, ex-chef. I closed my business last year, but I was in the industry for 15 years. I mean, I still cook, of course, that's never going to go away. But we always talk about food on the podcast. I believe food is a very important part of people's lives, and it should be something they, are aware of and take care of. And it's something we promote here. So, being as someone that's such a top end athlete, like food, I would assume is an important part of your life. So I'm just curious, like your thoughts on different diets and what do you do? And yeah, let's just start with that. What you get into.
I love that. And this is probably the most drastic statement I'll say about food, but it's really not that drastic. It just puts you inside the mind of an athlete, a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Food for me is fuel. So I don't eat because I'm hungry or eat because I want to know. I eat to fuel myself up to perform. And
Interesting.
so that's the way that I view, at least, especially when I'm, like right in the middle of a season and grinding and
Sure.
going, food is fuel. And so I try to eat the things that are going to fuel me for the practice, for the next game, for the entire season. Food is fuel. Now, obviously, you have your cheat days or you have your date nights, you have all your things, you have the foods you like or you dislike, you have all that stuff. But generally speaking, food is fuel. Now, a secondary point I'll say, and people, I don't know how people view this, but fasting has been an important piece for me. And that's not the fuel part, that's more the spiritual part, right? People talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
yeah, like, because for me, because food can be a vice for a lot of people. And I know for me, there were times where, I mean, like I said, I'm 6'3", 260. There was time I would get up to 268, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for my position, was a little bit heavy because every weekend I'm going to Cheesecake Factory and getting burgers because it's date night, right? I'm like, who cares? Like, I love it, right? So I had to be like, okay, maybe not, right?
Yeah.
But then the other piece is there's a verse, I don't remember where it is, but it talks about how people's God, your God is your belly. It's like, I don't want that to be me. And so there would be times where I would fast and say, you know what, God, you're more important than whatever food I
Sure.
usually eat, than whatever breakfast or whatever lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there was a season in life, actually my third year with the Bears. It actually happened to be my best year. I don't think there was a coincidence where I actually fasted for a portion of the season, a portion of the day during a portion of the season. So
Sure.
yeah, and it
Interesting.
really, yeah, and it really, it centered me in a lot of ways. It allowed me to realize that yes, food is fuel, but I'm fueled by more than just food. I'm fueled by the Spirit of God.
Yeah.
And so that gives me strength. There's another verse that says, the joy of the Lord is your strength, right? So what gives me strength is joy. People see me, they see my smile, my joy. And so for me, food is fuel, but also it's not my God. It's not the only thing. But the last thing I'll say, like my tertiary point is, you say you're a cook, a chef. My wife loves to cook,
Yeah.
loves to cook. And I mean, it's literally in her blood. She whips up things and that people take 2 hours, she can do it in 20 minutes. No, I'm not
Love
even
it.
exaggerating.
I love
And
that.
so food for us is also a sense of community,
Yes.
a sense of
Fellowship, right? I don't know. What?
fellowship, life in some ways, right?
Yeah.
Like so there's like, it's not like food is bad or good. Like food is food. Like you said, we need it. But it's not everything, but it's also not like nothing. I'm only gonna eat. No, like I said, for my job, food is fuel. But
Yeah.
as of now, as a writer and a speaker, I eat, I try to keep it clean, but I'm not just this robot like only eating mashed vegetables and green peas and carrots, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to have some other stuff. What, like game day? What would be a typical game day meal? I'm
So
curious.
crazy enough, I can't eat before games.
Really? Nothing.
Yes. No, well, so what I'll do, I don't know if you know about those honey stingers, the little energy kind of bars. Like I'll have those.
Yeah.
It's like a honey. I can do honey stingers. I can do, if it's a morning game, I could do honey stingers for energy and something like that. But I can't eat a full meal, a full
Yeah.
breakfast before a game. Now, if it's a night game, I'm okay.
Yeah.
After late afternoon, I can do that, right? So the real question is, what's your night before meal, right? The night
Yeah.
before early games usually. So that for me, and there'll be times too. Like there was a season two where I said, you know what? Because I had to remember that yes, it's the NFL, but it's also just a game. So some mornings I'll just have cereal for breakfast, right? They have the bacon
Love
and
that.
the pancake. I'll just do cereal. I'm like, dude,
Love
I'm a
that.
kid. We're playing a game.
Yeah.
But usually not before. It'll be, we'll have the pastas and the. I'm trying to think what else I would usually eat. I know I had ice cream the night before. I'm an ice cream guy the night
Really?
before. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, you're burning through so many right in the
right,
game.
right,
Like you said, fuel, just fuel.
yes,
That's
yes,
interesting. That is interesting. Okay, so game day. I'm curious what your teammates thought. I didn't want to interrupt your story, but when you were talking about fasting, what did your
yeah.
teammates think about that? Did they say anything or
So
curious
they
or
didn't know. They didn't know.
interesting? Love
Yeah, I
that.
didn't make it that big of a deal. They
Sure.
didn't know. I in NFL locker rooms, we have, you got to think, you got millionaires sitting in meeting rooms watching film, preparing for games. So people think, oh, football, you're just out on the field all day. No, majority of your time, 70% of your day is spent watching film,
Wow.
20% on the practice field, and 5 to 10% working out. But a majority is in the film room. And so
Wow.
oftentimes you're in the film room meeting for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And so we'll have intermittent breaks in between those times. And in those 5, 10, 15-minute breaks, guys will go to the lunchroom, get a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, right? Because we're burning it off. Let me just grab some food. You'll see
Totally.
Snickers, you'll see Skittles, right? Food is fuel for some, not all, right? You'll see Snickers
Yeah.
and Twix in the morning. You'll see all donuts, all that stuff. And that was me, right? But I told you, I got a 268 for a reason.
Yeah.
I was getting the bacon, egg, and cheese and the whatever, because it's like, oh, I'll burn it off. I'm fine. And then it got to a point I said, you know what? I know I don't need that. And I know it's not helping me. So there was a transition was, okay, let me just try to do something that I like, yogurt. I'll do yogurt and granola. That would be my
There you
thing,
go.
and berries, right? And
Yeah.
then with the fasting piece, all I did was, so when they would go during the break, uh, they would go to the lunchroom to get food. And I would just kind of find a quiet area and just pray. Just pray for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, one
Love
minute.
that.
just
Love
spend
that.
some time with God. So yeah, so I
That's
don't
cool,
think they
man.
knew.
That's cool, man. No, I love that. You're doing what works for you. You know, you're trying something, you're doing what works for you. I love that. You know, there's like veganism, if you want to, you know, that movement, which I have nothing against, not at all. I'm curious. I've seen it, you know, bleed into athletes and that becoming like a big thing. And something I never thought. Is that something you've ever considered or thought about? Or I'm sure you know people that do that.
Yeah,
Use that.
yeah, no, definitely. I had a teammate who was completely vegan, and this dude looked like an Under Armour mannequin. This dude was huge
Just
and built.
jacked.
Yeah, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm vegan." I'm like, "You can't be vegan." Like, "You're vegan? Okay, hi, I'm Sam. Nice to meet you." Like, I don't even know what that even means. That you're too big. But for me, I did personally. I steered away from some red meats because my body didn't digest them well personally.
Yeah,
So I would do the chickens and the salmons. But vegans being, it's I have considered it because I do like vegetables and fruits and all the things, but it hasn't been, the point I'm going to hammer home and say, you know what, I'm going to be vegan for this season of life.
sure. You know, I think a lot of people, I mean, I know a lot of people have become, I mean, food has just been such a part of my life for so long. Like I've had a million of these conversations. And really the key is, you know, people become vegan because of, you know, okay, environmental thing, but also the animals, right? They want to protect the animal. And I get it. And I'm behind that too. Anytime I talk to vegan, look, I don't like these factory farms either. Okay. It's all about regenerative farming. Okay. It's actually, if we were to, you know, take care of these animals and do it right, it's actually better for the environment than growing just vegetables and things, to be honest with you. So it's really just how we go about it, right? We all want the same solution, but we're just not attacking the problem the same way. So yeah, it's such an interesting conversation, but like I definitely appreciate where everyone's heart is coming from and what they want to do. And I definitely agree with factory farming needs to go. Everyone should agree with that. That stuff has got to go. It's not good. It's not good for anybody or anything, you know, the food like that. So, um, you know, I'm curious about, you know, moving forward with 2021. Gosh, I guess it's just too hard to, I was just going to ask like what sort of plans you have, but I guess it's just too hard to plan anything, right, for 2021.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows.
Right. I mean, like,
Everybody knows what 2021 looks like. Now,
eh,
personally, eh, 6 months ago, no one knew we would be where we're at right now. I
yeah,
remember in March. I remember in March, I was doing the NFLPA stuff. We were doing our negotiating and the voting and all the things, and that's when the pandemic had just really people started talking about it. And I remember because I was making some videos about collective bargaining agreement,
yeah.
NFLPA stuff, and encouraging people as well. So I was going to make a video about, hey guys, we're going to be fine. And I shared it with one of my friends, the guy who told me, go see a
Oh,
counselor. So he's a
got
good
it.
friend.
Yeah, yeah.
And and I shared it with him this video, pretty much saying, oh yeah, guys, this pandemic, we're going to get over it. It's going to get better soon. And I said, hey, what do you think about me sharing this? He said, dude, there's no guarantee this thing is getting better soon. I wouldn't post that if I were you. And I'm thinking, dude, come on, man. It's
It's gonna be
2 weeks,
fine.
3 weeks, a month,
Yeah,
9 months later, we're still in it. And so for me, you talk about when I'm at my best or when I'm at my best is when I'm not worried about tomorrow or the next week or the next month. This is when I'm just looking at what I got today, what is in front of me,
yeah.
and taking care of that. And the things that I love today and that I would love to do in the future, love speaking. So I love encouraging people. That's kind of my gift. And it's not kind of my gift, it is my gift. I love encouraging people, whether verbally or even through my book, through Let the World See You. That's why I'm encouraging anybody, go get that book. It's available anywhere books are sold. It's on Amazon. It's at every single Target store. So if
Oh,
you walk into
nice,
your local Target, walk into your local
nice.
Target, you can go get a copy, get it as a gift for yourself, for someone else, a Christmas gift. So writing, encouraging that in that way, speaking. I've been doing some stuff on TV as well, which I've enjoyed as well. So those are the things that I enjoy. That's what I've been doing. But as far as when it comes to 2021, man, I got no idea. I have a little bit of idea, but
You
so
have
much up in the
some
air.
wishes, right? You're like, I wish this is going to go this way. I look, I do know this. I think we're fair to say that 2021 will be better than 2020.
No guarantees. My buddy told me no guarantees because that's what I said. I said, dude, we're in March, man.
Has to
It's
be.
going to get better. I told
Yeah,
my friends, like, it has to get better.
yeah.
He said, don't bet on it. And
I
so,
mean,
I'm an optimistic guy. But I mean, there really are no guarantees. No one knew. Last Christmas we were celebrating Christmas, me and my family, and all of a sudden 2 days later, we lost someone very close to us. And so
Yeah.
we didn't know that was going to happen. That wasn't a happy, great situation. It came out of nowhere. Even with me, right? I'm playing just signed a big contract in the NFL. And all of a sudden, one play I'm on the field, the next play I tear my pec. So we don't really know what the future holds. But for me and anyone who believes that what Jesus says, it's like we know who holds our future.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, it's I don't know what is in my future, but I know who is in my future. So if I could just stay focused on today and just like walk by, like live out what I talk about, then I can have peace. And that's one thing I've been praying for, is just peace, because this is a tumultuous time.
Yes. Wow. Great words, man. That I think anybody can get behind that message, man. 100%. Sam, is there anything that we didn't talk about, or anything you wanted to go over with the book, or anything I didn't mention, or I just want to make sure we didn't leave anything out that you wanted to cover?
Well, we were talking food. That was good. I love that. No, I think we did. I think we covered it. Yeah. My biggest thing is like I said, I love encouraging people. And so I love speaking and I do that, but man, this book, and as you know, if you read this, if you get to know this book, you'll get to know me. You get to know pretty much everything about me.
Love that.
And so anybody who wants to be encouraged, wants to have hope, especially during a time like now with so much going on, whether it's COVID or race relations, whatever, if you want to have hope, go buy my book. Go get the book. Go to Target. It's at Target. Go to Amazon. It's on Audible. Anywhere you digest books, go check out. Go buy "Let the World See You: How to Be Real in a World Full of Fakes." And then let me know what you think. You can reach out to me on social. It's my tag is at the Sam Acho, TheSamAcho. Let me know what you think, or also just go to samachobook.com. All my info is there as well. SAMACHObook.com. But yeah, I'd love to. I just love connecting with people. So anyways, yeah, get the book, connect with me. Let me know what you think.
Love that, man. That's awesome. Wow. What a great, that's perfect, man. That's probably, I was going to ask you to do that, and you did it. You did it perfectly. So, yes, man, Sam, this has been absolutely just such an amazing conversation. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and, I just wish the best for you and your family during this time. And, best of luck with the book and everything. I know everyone that the reviews are ridiculous, man. Literally, people are just like loving this book. You should be very, very happy. You accomplished what you set out to do, which is amazing. And it's just going to continue to change people's lives, which is awesome, man. So thank you again for taking the time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right. Have a good rest of the day.
All right. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
The Lone Star Plate podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com and you can search your city for stores, butchers, restaurants, farmers markets, and more who are using fresh, artisanal, organic sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For more information, go to thelonestarplate.com. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong. Until next time.